Hey
Hey,
Mark, how's it going?
good. How you doing?
Good.
Hey.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about all this new legislation that the government has enacted, and they call it TRESA.
Yeah.
And they're the changes that to the Real Estate Act. Now, both you and I have been in training, for all these different things that are going on.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to discuss the biggest changes that the public is probably going to have to know about.
Well, they're gonna have to know about it, right? And I think going through those changes, like I say, we'll cover off some designations. We'll cover off how open bidding's allowed, how it comes together, who can do what, who controls it in a sense. Um, that's mainly the changes right there. But we'll go in detail about them. But it definitely affects the public and how they're represented and how offers can be done. It's going to be
Yes.
a much different landscape.
So most brokerages now, before you could represent both parties, right? You could represent your seller and the buyer.
Yep.
And now most brokerages aren't allowing that. So the rules are kind of trying to make somebody have a designated representative.
Hey, let's before you go there, let's before we get too far off, maybe we should go through designations and then make more sense for the viewers. That's what I'm thinking, right? Let's
Well,
maybe
that's exactly what I'm trying to do. So before you were just a sales representative for the brokerage.
correct.
But now a brokerage isn't in multi-representation. So if me and you both belong to Sutton, before it was considered multi-representation because there was a conflict of interest because
Right,
we both work for the same brokerage.
right,
Now we have to be the designated representative.
correct.
So I would have to be the designated representative for the buyer.
Mhm.
You would have to be a designated representative for the seller and look
Yes.
after the seller's best interest. I would have to look after the buyer's best interest. And it doesn't matter which brokerage we're with anymore. It's irrelevant.
What they're trying to do is they're trying to get rid of multiple representation altogether because there's all these lawsuits are really surrounded about the representation because there's agents out there today that are putting their best interests ahead of their clients.
Or they're putting the best interest of the seller and
Whatever.
they do an open house. Somebody comes in and wants to buy it. Their duty has always been to the seller, regardless. But you can't now act like you're working in the interest of both parties because you can't do it anymore.
So, okay, so I'm going to go through the designations because it might make this more clear because this can get confusing. So there's four types. Designated representation. That's the representation that we offer fiduciary duties, best interest of the client. That's the one that most people are going to take. And that's the one they're mostly in right now. So that's an easy one to figure out. Then we got multiple rep, but they can't advocate for anybody. So most brokerages, correct me if I'm wrong, are saying, you know what, we're not having multiple representation.
No, they're
They've
not allowing it, right? So that's kind of
gone out the
gone.
gone. So doesn't matter. So okay, I'm gonna role play something now. Okay, so you're the listing agent on 123 Main Street. I show 123 Main Street to my client and he wants to proceed with an offer. Go. How do you answer that?
um as the listing representative, I would have already be the designated representative
Or the seller.
for the seller. So when you write a listing agreement now, it says you're the designated representative.
But I'm
It's
the buyer,
automatic. It's
right?
automatic.
I'm the buyer guy and I'm bringing the buyer and they want to buy your property. We both work for the same company.
So now you would have to do on the one form on their confirmation of cooperation that shows the brokerages.
Yep.
You would have to identify that you're the designated representative for the buyer and I'm the designated representative for the seller,
Okay. Okay, good.
and you are giving them full service.
Yep.
and I'm giving full service.
Okay, it's cut off there. That's cut and dry. That makes a lot of sense. But let's just say I'm role playing because I think it's going to be easier for people to understand this. Okay, you do an open house at 123 Main Street. I'm the buyer guy coming to your open house. Pretend I'm not a real estate agent. I'm a buyer looking to buy a house. And I go, Diane, nice to meet you. You give me the tour. Okay, I want to put an offer in. Answer.
You have two choices. I can either hook you up with another agent who could be your designated representative.
Okay,
Who
from the
can,
brokerage if you want. It could be from the brokerage or any other agent, correct?
yes, from the brokerage, any other agent, and they will work on your behalf and help you through the process.
Okay.
Or you can self-represent yourself.
Okay, let's go explain that because that's another representation that we haven't covered. So explain that then.
So if you self-represent yourself, you have to sign off on a form that I cannot help you at all. I cannot give you advice on price,
Yep.
conditions.
Compare what should I offer?
What, no, yeah, exactly. I can't tell you like the price or any kind of numbers what you should offer. All I can do is basically do the paperwork and give it over to my client, but I can't help you at all. I'm not allowed to help you because I am the designated representative for my seller, right?
Right.
I have to work on the best interest for my seller.
Yep.
So I have to do an offer because I'm supposed to be helping my client sell the house.
Right.
So
Okay.
I can't turn down doing an offer for them. I have to do it.
Got it. Okay.
But you have to sign off as the buyer that
Right.
I'm giving you out like no help whatsoever. You're on your own.
And that type of representation will not happen very much. It's just, I really don't think it's going to be a popular choice for a lot of people. There will be some, I believe, that will think, oh, well, I'm going to represent myself and Diane has to do it for me. So I'm going to get a better deal because that seller is not going to pay a commission. That's not the case, correct? There's going to be some kind of fees.
Well, yes. So
Deal.
for our brokerage alone, if I already talked to Bill, and if I bring in a self-represented person, I'm going to be charged 2 deal fees because our office still has to do it twice.
Correct.
And on the listing agreement with people, we would have to put a little note that if it's purchased by a self-represented party,
It's going to be this commission
it's
structure.
the commission's going to be higher.
That's right. Okay.
Because there's still going to be a commission component because first of all, I got to do all the work. Second of all, the brokerage is still going to take
100%. They got to do
fees, their percentage.
I get it. I don't think that's going to be a popular one for a lot of people because there's no guidance, there's no expertise, there's no knowledge. It's like hands off. Great. What do you want? 695. Great. Next. What do you think I should put in there? You can't say nothing.
No. And Mark, so now your buyers and sellers, every single person, even if it's a lease that you do a deal with, has to sign a 13-page booklet. And this 13-page booklet talks about the relationships between the realtor and the client. So it explains if you're self-represented, you're on your own. You get no help and we're not liable for nothing. It's your problem if stuff goes sideways.
So I'm going to run scenarios because I think the scenarios is the best thing to make it simple. So example, that buyer comes in and it could be me, I'm the buyer and whatever. And so I'm going to make all this up. Okay. You can't tell them anything about the property. So we don't know if there's been floods in the basement. We don't know if there's any stigmas attached to the property. Was it a grow up? Was somebody murdered in the house?
Okay, now,
nothing.
if they ask the question, we would have to answer.
Not that them representing them then.
No, if they said, they could put it in the offer.
Okay, right. They
So
put
if
it,
that no one's ever died in the house, that there's never been a grow up in the house.
but let's be honest though, because let's be honest now, is that it's not too many people are going to think of those things. Me and you think it really because we're in the game, but And I'm only trying to show the public that that's not going to be a good avenue for the public to go, because there's no disclosure of anything if they don't ask the right questions, because we can't advocate for them. We can't represent them in
No, we
way.
are supposed to be working on behalf of the seller. So
Right.
no matter what, we're supposed to do whatever we can to sell that house.
Right. Right.
And
And if
our
they ask the right
duty,
questions, say la
right,
vie. So
right.
there's the
And hold on. So now you come in my open house, you want to buy it. Before I do an offer for you, I got to show you the 13-page booklet.
right.
And I have to explain to you that you have absolutely no representation and you can't come back on me. It's
Yeah.
in the booklet.
Okay, well, I'm gonna stop there and ask a question. Okay, their part. Okay, can they come back on the seller? Example, holy cow, we didn't put a home inspection in, and my brother-in-law just was finished doing something and he saw a bunch of mold everywhere. Can they come after the seller for not disclosing it?
Maybe. I think this is where the problem, no, this is where the problem's going to be. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is going to be a big problem because now I don't have to disclose anything unless
No.
you ask.
Correct. Correct.
And if something goes terribly wrong and you don't do a home inspection,
In trouble.
well, I think they could come after me too. Hold on, I'm getting something for Gracie.
I don't think they can, but you can't advocate for them. You can't represent them. You can't give them education. You can't give advice. So that's not the way to go for the general public. And I don't think that's going to be a designation or sorry, representation that most people are going to pick because of those. It's too risky. The risk is too much.
Right.
For
So
after we explain the age, after we explain the representations, they should come under going, holy cow, I better not take that one because I'm on my own.
okay, so that's the other thing. So now you say you want to put in an offer. I go through the booklet with you so I have to explain your options. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can self-represent and get a lawyer
Yes.
if you want to do your offer and do your paperwork.
Yeah.
So I explain all this to you. And then you say to me, Diane, I don't want to self-represent. I'm not comfortable with that.
Yeah.
So then I hook you up or you go find an agent on your own, one or the other.
Yeah.
And you get them to be your designated representative.
Yeah.
Who is looking after you, just you.
That's right. So okay. So now I'm going to flip the coin. Now we're still talking about the same buyer coming to open house, etc. So now they have an agent, so that agent can put anything they want in there and ask you all kinds of questions on this and this and this that you have to disclose.
Yes.
Right. So we're showing the public that does the different types of representation. In my mind, it's the designated one is the one to go with, because now you have someone representing a buyer in their best interest, and now you have an agent representing a seller in their best interests.
Exactly.
Right. Doing this on your own is not the route to go. And I know they're giving it an option, and it's good that the option is there, I believe, but I don't think it's going to be an option that's going to be picked up by the general public very
So the
fast.
thing is, Mark, as a buyer, if I'm using an agent, I don't pay.
You don't pay. I agree. You know,
Buying the buying agent gets paid by the seller.
correct. Correct.
So what the hell's the difference? I mean, if I have to go to a lawyer, I got to pay.
And how many calls did we get back in the day when we did, we would, maybe 1 in 10 deals. I represent both parties many, many times in the transaction. And then I was, I want, or some, prospects would call and say, we want to work with you because you represent a seller and we know we're going to get a better deal and we're going to pay less.
This last 2 years, that's all it's been.
Yeah.
That's all it's been. I've been getting calls from Toronto people. Well, we just want to deal with you because you're the listing agent. They're all doing that. They think they're going to get a better deal.
No, they're just not, or
actually
save more commissions depending.
I find that usually they get a shittier deal because your seller, if it's my seller, they won't budge for me because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They know what I know what they want. I know what they wanted from the beginning, and they won't budge. When another agent comes in and says, well, we're not going higher than 650 and that's it, too bad.
Yeah.
Then they have to really make the decision, where if I'm representing that person, they'll say, Diane, we wanted 675. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
So it's actually beneficial to have your own person anyway, because you're not, trying to get a deal done where, like, at the end of the day, your house is only worth what somebody's willing to pay.
Exactly it. It's exactly the rule.
But as the listing agent, it's very hard to explain that to people sometimes. They don't want to hear it from you. But if another agent comes in, and you might have 2 or 3 offers at the end of the day on a property, and if they're all around the same price, they eventually, we got to do it.
Want to go through one more? Tell me about the broker representation. It's the last one we want to cover off, and then we'll go into the next sections. So it's deemed that all agents rep for the client.
Yes.
Explain
So
that.
before these new rules came in December 1st, if we were at the same brokerage, your contract was with the brokerage,
Right.
not with the actual sales representative.
Right.
So that brokerage, if me and you both with the same brokerage, we're dealing with 2 different clients,
Yeah.
but because they both signed contracts with the brokerage was in multi-representation, and there was a conflict of interest.
Right.
Because the brokerage has a contract with both people.
Correct.
Now we are the designated representative.
Right.
So the brokerage could have both agents on the same deal, but we now have the designation that we are just looking out for the best interest of that person only.
But if someone chooses the broker representation, what are they choosing though? Are they choosing, because what I wrote down from our meeting was that all agents rep for the client. It's deemed that they know everything. Like, to me, that doesn't make sense.
The broker's representation isn't even a thing. It's not going to even be a thing. There's no such thing, really.
Okay.
Because you can't really get representation. You can only have a designated sales rep or self-represent yourself.
So I know they got 4, but that's good. Okay. So a couple other changes that I think people are going to want to know that came into effect on December 1st is how offers can be kind of a blind bidding process, which includes, okay, we can disclose numbers to everybody.
No, it's not blind anymore. It's open.
Oh, sorry, it's open. Sorry, my mistake. So it's open, not blind. Sorry. So the seller has a choice, and it has to be written saying, okay, Diane, you can let them know how many offers, you can let them know price, you can let them know closing dates, you
And
can
conditions. So there's a form 209 that a seller would have to sign before an offer date or when you list the property.
Yeah.
And it says that if there's multiple offers, you have the 4 choices of the closing date, the price, the conditions, and what was the other one? Deposit, I think.
Yeah, deposit, closing date, conditions, price. So basically, all the let's just call it all the details, but.
Well, then it says other.
Okay.
So you could pick something else too. But the issue with this is that the seller can pull that at any time. So if we say I have a property, I list it for $499, I'm withholding offers, okay? Till Monday. Monday, I get 4 offers in and 1 is yours.
Okay.
And my seller said, I want everybody to know the price.
Okay.
So now we get all 4 of them in, and I have to give a form back to all 4 people disclosing offer 1 gave me this price, offer 2 gave me that price, offer 3, 4, so on.
Does anybody want to make any changes?
Yes.
Okay, so.
Now you decide to make a change.
Okay, so.
Hold on. You decide to make a change now that I've disclosed it to you.
Who makes it?
The buyer. So now all the buyers see what the prices are, and they all change their numbers. Maybe 2 of them say, forget it.
Yeah.
and two of them say, okay, we're gonna change our number.
Right.
You hand them back to me. Now I
Right.
get them all back. My seller now says, okay, I don't want you to disclose anymore now.
Right.
I don't want anybody to know the new numbers.
Okay. So role play that. Okay. So your seller's got two. So are the four offers, two have made a change. We'll just call it a price and maybe a closing date, whatever, or both prices. It doesn't matter. They made a change.
They both made a change on the price.
Okay. So they receive them now. Okay. And then, okay. I'm just thinking for the person sitting home watching this to make it as simple as I can.
Okay, so Mark, you tell me role play. Okay, Diane, I just sent you the offer back.
Okay. You got the two offers. Yeah. You got it back and great. One was higher, but and I'm waiting around going, well, Diane, when are you going to let me know if I got
Okay,
it?
hold on. No, now I give you a call and I say, okay, Mark, my seller now has decided to close the offer process. Do you still want to stick on your number?
Okay.
Do you still want to stick? Well, now you don't know what the other person put in
Oh, so okay.
because now the disclosure stopped.
So then it's almost okay. Let's get them to up a little bit. Let's get them to go higher, and then now let's play them off again.
Exactly.
So in saying that, so now that seller says, sorry, we're not disclosing any more information. And then the other offer may have put in, I don't know, 20 grand more. So to me, it's going to be, I think it's going to be more of an inflating the price than it was before. That's my take on it, because the seller has the choice.
Well, the thing is, if you were going to keep it an open process the whole time, and I was at $4.99 and all the prices were between $5.25 and $5.30, say. All four of them were in that price range, right? If it so I send it back to you guys and I tell you, okay, this is the disclosure. These are the prices. Do you want to change? So you're now at 5.30. You're the highest one.
Yep.
And now you're thinking, okay, well, I'm winning, so I don't really need to change. But then I tell you, oh, okay, well, two people did change their number.
And by the way, we're not disclosing it now. They've stopped the process. Do you want to make a change, Mr. Agent or Mrs.
Yeah.
Agent? It's going to get interesting.
Well, I think it could actually make it go up worse.
100% could. In a hot market, it could really drive things crazy. Really drive things. And okay, it's going to drive things crazier, Dan, but you know what it's going to also do? It's going to make our job a little easier because the seller's controlling the game.
Yes.
Right? No more disclosure. Holy cow. Then they're back and like, they're almost going, okay, so now open bid. Now they can go back to blind bid. Really? That's what
They
they're
can
doing.
change it anytime. Yeah.
Done. This
And
all
so
has to get signed off
my
on.
thing is, as a seller, you know yourself, when we withheld offers, there would always be one crazy high price
100%. Always is.
and the rest are usually reasonable.
Yep.
So if you do open,
Yep.
you lose the chance of getting that one crazy high because now everybody's going to see your number. And
Yep.
now you're thinking, okay, everybody's not going to go high. So if I'm going to get to see the number,
Yep.
I'll put in 525, see where everybody else is at before I go to 6.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Because it's going to go around 2 and 3 and 4 with everybody, not just one. It's just going to keep going. It's going to get longer in the process.
Exactly.
Right? So it could get pretty interesting at the end of the day. So
and I thought nobody would do it because as a seller, I thought the blind bid is better.
Yeah.
Right? Because nobody knows anything. We all tell the people the closing date anyway. Let's be real. If we have multiple offers.
We always get that question. What's closing? Well, this is the preferred date. Okay, great. But we can do
and
that.
Everybody gives you it.
9 times out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah. So the closing date means shit all to me.
Yep. Yeah.
But the price is going to be interesting because to me, if everybody's going to see my number and I'm going to get to see everybody else's, I'm going to go lower to start.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna go high right off the bat and overpay.
No.
So I'm gonna go lower. I'm gonna see where everybody's at.
Here's a question. Here's a question now. Okay, so you got those 4 offers. And we'll just say 525, 550 is the highest, and the 550 to 530, we're gonna say. What happens if your seller goes down and want to take the 550? Then it's done.
Yeah.
Or they might just push it back on you and say, well, then hit them again. Let's do this strategy now. Let's just say, okay, great. We're letting you know that we're going off of the open bidding and we're going back to blind bidding. Does anybody want to make a change?
Mm-hmm. You could just take the 550.
You could.
And
Yes.
you could disclose to everybody, okay, here's all what the prices were, and we took the 550.
100%. Does anybody want to trade up or increase?
Well, it's too late now.
It's too late now once they've taken it, right? Or they just said, we're happy with 550, great, thanks. And, because there's going to be some buyers that it's going to become a pissing contest where they're not going to want to play.
Yes.
Where they're just going to say, you know what, I'm not into this 3 and 4 time rounds. Goddamn sellers doing this, just trying to jack it up, blah, blah, stupid agents and blah, blah, blah. That's what's going to probably happen.
Well, and that's why, what kills me is the open process is supposed to stop that. And I think it actually encourages it.
It does encourage it. 110% it does. 110%.
If you were open, if we all had to be open and we all had to be open 100% of the time, it's different.
Yep.
If we can stop it at any moment, what the fuck is the point?
I know. I think they're just giving choices, but I think that could get out of hand in a hot market. It's not going to get out of hand in a quiet market. It's not. But we go back, because we will go back to those COVID days of pricing. Not next year, maybe 25 or 26. And then because we all know there's rates are going to be coming down. They talked about 3 rate decreases in 2024. I think there's going to be a little bit more than 3. I hate to say it, but there's going to be. I mean, the state of the economy is cracks. Let's see what happens. I was going up the chairlift with one of my buddies and he was teaching that day. I said, how's the lessons going on? We're way down. What do you attribute it to? Cha-ching. People don't have the money.
Well, you know what else, Mark? Travis was here and we were talking about my variable rate mortgage, and he went online, and 5-year or 3-year mortgages are under 5.
100%.
4.7, 4.8 right now.
I know. Look at the bond yields. They're low. They're under. I think
And 2 months ago, that was 7.
Huh?
I said to him, I said, Travis, believe me, I'm variable rate and I'm paying way more than 4 or 5. He goes, Mom, you can't look at it. And he's looking it up. I said, buddy, it takes a month or so for my variable to catch up to what's going on.
Oh, it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
And those are the fixed rates. We're not talking variable rates haven't come down. It's the fixed rates, right? That have come down.
Listen, even the variable is gone way down.
Interesting.
He was showing me and I'm like, can't be.
Yeah.
It is, Mark. So just because the bank, this is a big fallacy I think people have, that if the bank, that the Bank of Canada has to do something to the rate for the banks to change the mortgage rates.
Yeah.
That's not true.
That's the lending rate, right?
The banks are already changing the mortgage rates. They've gone down 2 or 3 times in the last month.
Based on the bond yields.
Yes.
Yeah. It's gonna get interesting, but I think we've done a good job explaining things as simple as we can. It's started now. It's going to be, we're 4 weeks into it, but
and there's all new forms now. So like your listing agreement's different. Everyone has to sign this 13-page book. Yeah. And believe me, I mean, I was at the office 2 days ago trying to explain it to 2 other agents who was doing a lease and didn't know what they were doing. Like, I think people are going to have to be patient because the way it is a big difference from the way it was. And all of us are learning at this. It's
a process. It's going to take some time to work through. Okay. It's awesome.
Perfect.
Okay. Talk soon.
Okay. We'll talk soon.
Spring weather. See ya.
Bye.